October is without a doubt my favorite month. The seasons change and everything is glowing in golds, oranges and browns. You've got the start of Oktoberfest and all the delicious beer varieties that go with it. Here in Europe we also see the sale of deer meat go up, which is a seasonal thing as well. And my birthday is in this month, the 21st of October if you must know. And best of all, Halloween. I've always loved Halloween and make an attempt to make something of the evening. Sadly, because my friends are not really into it and I live in Switzerland, which has no interest in the holiday either, Halloween night usually sees me enjoying some good seasonal beer and Jägermeister, painting my face and putting on some attempt of a costume, and watching horror films until about 5 AM. I figured I'd take advantage of this month to talk about all my favorite horror with you guys, the cultists of H.P. Lovecraft. I did state in a newsletter earlier this year that I'd like to occasionally branch out from just doing H.P. Lovecraft content, and many of you were very happy with the idea, so I'm going to cash in on that now. What you're going to see starting tonight are a bunch of videos no more than 4 minutes in length, usually about 3 minutes, looking at some horror films, books or games that I particularly like. No heavy scripts, no tedious editing, just to the point with my thoughts about the topic and without big spoilers. Since these are really going to be easy to produce, I have no fears that I can do a couple a week for the month of October, and yeah, I think I can pull that off. I'm kind of biting Cinemassacre's Monster Madness gimmick here, but hey, I really love that series and this is my appreciation to it. So without further yapping, let's get into Arkham Reporter's Horrorfest 2022. The Thing is my favorite horror film of all time, made in 1982, and it still stands out to this day unlike many films of its era, and that's saying a lot since the 80s horror genre is iconic as hell. The film is set in the Antarctic region where a research team sees the bizarre sight of a helicopter trying to kill a sled dog. From the beginning you're immediately captivated by the weirdness of the whole thing, and the cinematography is absolutely perfect here. Eventually it turns out that the dog holds a horrific secret, which I don't think I'm spoiling after 40 years since its release date. It mutates and then spreads its disease, its virus, throughout the camp, which infects people and turns them into almost perfect replicas. Driven to discover what the hell is happening, our main protagonist, played by the always brilliant Kurt Russell, flies off to the camp from whence the helicopter originated to find out what the hell these damn Swedes were doing.
You really want to save those crazy Swedes, huh? Norwegians.
They dug up an alien spaceship, and that passenger of the spaceship is what is plaguing our heroes. From then on comes a cosmic horror story that even the titan of terror, H.P. Lovecraft, would struggle to improve or to find things to gripe about. Yeah, it's that damn good, and you know how much I revere the old gentleman of Providence.
So come on now, McCready. The Norwegians get hold of this, and they dig it up out of the ice.
Yes, Gary, they dig it up, they cart it back. It gets thawed out, wakes up, probably not in the best of moods. I don't know what he...
How does this motherfucker wake up after thousands of years in the ice?
And how can it look like a dog? I don't know how. Because it's different, see.
I often like to test the intensity of a horror film by how much I do not want to be in that scenario the characters are in. The Thing poses a scenario so horrific, so mind-bending that suicide was the option for a few characters in the film. I'd honestly rather take my chances in Silent Hill or Raccoon City than be in this film. Technically, The Thing is an adaptation of a short story written by John W. Campbell called Who Goes There, published in 1938, which was later adapted into the adequate but now overshadowed film The Thing from Another World. But it does take some liberties in the story and is an improvement over the actual story, I'm glad to say. By the way, I reviewed that short story on my channel like 5 years ago. The link to that video is in the description below. Since the films from the 80s, we see a lot of practical effects, and after all these years, I still think that they legitimately hold up and are great to watch. Nothing beats the disgust one feels seeing these mutated entities on camera, and they crave destruction and annihilation from a sane world.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The theme music is one of a kind, and the track you're hearing in this video is the title theme of that film. It was composed by Ennio Morricone and produced and performed by John Carpenter, I believe, who himself is famous for his synth-heavy music, and that's basically something brilliant in itself. Getting goddamn Ennio Morricone to compose what was basically thought to be just a basic 80s horror film at the time is like getting the goddamn Undertaker to come do a show at your kid's birthday party. The ending of the thing is something that's still talked about to this day, 40 years later, and you can find many videos on YouTube analyzing tiny details as to figure out the truth. The only other time I've seen this really done was with The Sopranos, and personally, I'm still shocked to find out that at the end of the film, the thing had infected